In 1975, he directed Jaws. In 1978, he directed Close Encounters of the Third Kind. In 1981, he directed Raiders of the Lost Ark. And now, Steven Spielberg brings us E.T., the Extra Terrestrial. Universal Pictures presents Steven Spielberg's E.T., the Extra Terrestrial.
Welcome everyone back to Spitball Cinema. I'm Scott. I'm here with my sister Stacy, my buddy Dave, and today we are going to be talking about the movie E.T.
Oh yeah. Dirty.
Yep.
Such a probably one of the biggest films that we grew up and got to be a part of by going to see it in the theaters. How many times did you guys remember seeing it in the theaters? Did you guys see it once, twice?
Oh, more than once.
Yeah.
We went and saw it multiple times.
Yeah, we did too.
And I think we went and saw it after years later after they re-released it
re-released
with
it.
my mom and my dad and my kids too. So that was
It was made in 1982. Steven Spielberg got the idea of the movie when he was making Raiders of the Lost Ark. He was out collecting fossils in the Tanzanian desert, and he was thinking about actually Close Encounters. You know, and you know how the Richard Dreyfuss character goes off. He said, "What would have happened if one would have stayed behind?" And he said the movie's really about his parents being divorced and how he wished he had a friend to help cope with that divorce during the time, you know, when he was a kid.
interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's how he kind of came up with he said he came up with the story and the idea within 2 days. He had already an idea of what he was wanting.
Yeah, and I can't remember even growing up, even like remembering a movie where um, either the family was missing a mom or a dad uh, for the story and stuff like that. I mean, can you think of one?
No, not off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was. I mean, you had my three sons. I mean, you know, I mean,
My three aliens.
I don't think, I mean, the movie, the story, everything was good, but I don't think it would have been near as great without John Williams and his music.
Oh my
The
gosh.
music to E.T. was
oh yeah, Mr. John Williams.
well, I mean,
No.
his
I remember us
Yeah.
buying the soundtrack and playing it in the house and stuff like that.
Yeah.
well, it just exploded after it came out. I mean, everything, merchandise and
Yeah.
toys and the E.T. glowing finger and
Yeah.
Happy Meals with E.T. and shirts. I mean, it was just it was crazed.
Yeah, I mean, I
Crazed.
remember this one cool dude. He wore his ET shirt for his elementary school picture. Elementary.
Yeah. Yes. I
Yeah.
do. I do have a picture of Scott with his ET shirt on in sixth grade.
No, you don't.
I do.
Um,
I do. I may have to post that in the comments or something. But well,
what sweet revenge.
with sweet revenge there.
Matter of fact, ladies and gentlemen, the thumbnail picture of this episode will have that picture.
Well, I don't know why you're talking because you don't do no goddamn
Come
editing.
on, I'm going to on this one.
I'm the one that's.
I will learn real quick.
Editing, so you know.
Well, this movie, you know, it threw Drew Barrymore. She was only what 5 or 6 years old into stardom.
Yeah.
But she was a born actress. She was born in that Barrymore family. She had it in her blood. But
Yeah, we're
now
grandpa.
the funny thing is with this movie is when I go back and watch it now as an adult, as a parent, as a grandparent, there's a few things in there, and I'm like, what? why would you do that? You know, like
Like, give us one example.
okay, the example where the principal calls Dee Wallace to tell her to come get Elliot because he was drunk at school, and Gertie's there with ET. Of course, she doesn't know ET's there. And she's like, Gertie, I'm going to go pick up Elliot. I'll be right back. And just leaves her 5-year-old by themselves.
Well, the dog was there.
But nowadays, I mean, in looking at
Yeah.
in the lens of a parent or grandparent, I'll be like, why don't you take her with you?
Yeah.
Anything could happen to him. Don't you know there's an alien in the house? But it's interesting when you go look at those movies from back then, how you look at it as in a different lens
Oh, yeah.
now that you're older. But
Yeah.
I mean, this movie was just
It was
it
perfect.
was just had such heart and comedy and uh chase scenes with the
Oh,
bikes,
man.
the
I was telling him, like,
Kuhara BMX
oh
bikes
my
that were
gosh.
the fastest bikes, and
Yeah.
they made an ET bike
Yeah.
after that movie came out. You know, for that.
Did they have the basket in front?
Oh, I maybe
Wow.
they maybe did. I kind of think that my brother wanted to get a red sweatshirt after this movie. Yeah, I'm pretty
No.
sure he did.
The-
Pretty sure.
When you do
Damn
be
red.
I feel like he did.
Look, I just remember Reese's Pieces was big.
Oh yeah,
Remember?
that was
'Cause-
huge.
Was that like the new candy too?
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
yeah, I remember he was leaving it for ET out there in the backyard.
So smart.
Matter of fact, to this day, I still leave some Reese's Pieces out in my
On your
on
patio?
my patio.
And that scene,
just in case ET comes back.
that scene where he's throwing the Reese's Pieces out and he's staying there at night and he goes in that like little corn looking maze or
Yeah.
whatever it is off their house, and you know he finally sees him with the flashlight and he
And
screams
you hear
and
that.
you're like, gosh,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I remember the whole theater was jumping, like, what the?
because at this point you really don't know what ET is all about. Is he
Sure.
mean? Is he
No, that is not correct at all.
It's like,
Nobody went to see E.T. thinking E.T. was an asshole.
well, you never know.
you
It's an
never know. It's a
alien.
Steven Spielberg
Nobody-
movie. I never thought a
it-
shark would be eating
from-
little kids.
From the
That's true.
trailers of the movie, you never got.
Well, you don't really know.
You
but-
never thought that E.T. was bad. Ever.
I mean,
and especially
first-
that part of the movie. You already saw that his parents left little son bitch behind.
Well, yeah, but he could have been
He's like a
pissed.
little jerky
I mean,
kid or something.
You never had an inclination that E.T. was mean. Ever.
Okay,
Ever.
Scott.
That's just false. It's a false.
But the movie just starts off like with that kind of eerie music, and then
The mist and the guy with the keys on his
Yeah, it's when we get
jeans.
introduced to keys.
That's who you're afraid of, not E.T.
Okay, Scott's getting all offended
You're
right
afraid
now.
of the government people, not this little freaking alien.
And I'm telling you, that music that John Williams scored, it was perfect. Because like when they first like start running after ET, that music starts getting all and you're like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
How's it go again?
Oh
sounds
my
like Jaws.
god. Wait, that's Mama. Yeah. But it kind of simulates a nervous heartbeat, and you get
A heartbeat.
Yeah.
But you know, it's after that scene, and you kind of feel Elliot's pain because his parents are divorced.
Yeah.
Nobody believes him or understands him, you know, and
The only friend he's got is Gertie. I mean,
yeah. But you know,
because like if he wants to do stuff with his brother and friends, he has to do something. Like he had to go and get the pizza and
yeah,
all that
yeah.
stuff. And I kind of I kind of went through that with my brother and stuff, but I didn't have to pay him or anything.
What are we talking
But
about?
I had to keep bothering him to like let me go and hang out with his friends
Yeah.
and stuff.
Well, and then
This is not your therapy session. Okay? This is about
But-
the movie E.T.
Yeah, it is.
But
a
then when
therapy session.
Elliot's showing ET all around his room, he fakes being sick that day, and E.T. finally he converses with him and he says home, and I mean what about
Oh,
that phrase? That
yeah,
phrase is cemented in history.
absolutely.
Well, I don't know about that because Judy Garland said there's no place like home.
Like,
In
yeah, she didn't say
the
E.T. phone
Wizard of
home.
Oz. You know, maybe E.T. was from Oz.
E.T. didn't really say E.T. phone home. He said E.T. home phone.
That's true.
Oh, he talks like Yoda.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was a little Yoda in there.
Well, they meet in the movie.
Yeah.
But I think one of the funniest parts when Gertie dressed him up and dressed up with as a little
Yeah.
girl.
He can talk
Yeah, I
now.
think that
And
was wrong. She shouldn't do that.
that was good.
He can talk now. I taught him to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, Drew Barrymore and her lisp, you know.
Oh,
See, thief,
God.
phone home. Yeah, even now she's like, back up.
Oh, God.
Well, Scott has a
Be quiet.
connection.
Drew Barrymore is awesome.
Yes, she
Scott
is, actually.
Scott has a connection with one of the actresses in
Oh,
E.T. Who played the mom, Dee Wallace. Do you want to tell that story?
Yes. I I actually, when I got out of the army, I've always been into acting and stuff. So when I got out in the army, I did an acting workshop downtown Kansas City, and Dee Wallace was conducting this acting workshop.
oh, wow.
I paid like a couple $100 to
Oh,
go to it,
shit.
and it was like a week long or something. So
Hmm.
you go down. I forget where we did it at, but I remember we're all sitting in the little theater thing waiting for her. She comes in and she goes, "Oh no, this isn't going to work," because we were all spread out, you know. So she made us all come together, and she said, "And no, I am not E.T.'s mother." That's the first thing she said. I'm not E.T.'s mother. But it was really cool because, you know, she's really big on getting your energy up before a scene. You know, get your, you know, shake it up, get your energy going, flowing and stuff. And so uh, she paired us off with people, and me and this one lady were doing this scene, and she stopped us like 5 minutes into doing it. Stop, guys! You're acting. Get your energy up. Okay, so I'm up and trying to get my freaking energy up. Me and this lady do the scene, and this lady, for some reason, I don't know why she did this, but she said, "Well, I just know that there was only one way we could do this scene." And Dee Wallace said, "Oh, you think so, huh?" She moved her out of the way and did the scene with me.
Get out of here.
And I jumped up and I started getting my energy up. One of my friends that there, she said that my face got beat red, you know, and and here
It's getting be red
I'm
now.
doing this scene with Dee Wallace back, and I'm looking in her eyes, and we're doing this back and forth thing, you know. It was so cool, you
Did
know.
she howl at you like?
You
Yeah.
know, but she was really a good teacher. I liked her a lot. She gave us all, we had her number at one time. She said, "Now don't give this out to a lot of people," you know.
That's so
But I
cool.
don't know what I ever did with that package and all that stuff. I should have kept it, you know.
Yeah.
I lost it over the years, you know.
I wish she would have been a bigger actress than she was. I mean, she was in like one of the biggest movies ever made, and everybody
Yeah.
knows
Oh
her.
yeah.
Hmm.
She'll always be remembered for this movie.
But
Yeah.
she should have gotten.
I
Yeah.
think
She's a
You know,
great actress.
I
she
think
really
they
is.
all will really be remembered for this movie. I mean, of course, Drew Barrymore grew up to do all kinds of movies, but she's always going to be that Gertie from E.T.
Oh yeah.
And I think Henry Thomas, who played Elliot, I think he got a little typecast as
Yeah.
Elliot, and as he grew up, he was in a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but nothing big except he was in Legends of the Fall, which was a movie, but a little
He
bit
was
more
Brad Pitt's brother.
little, yeah, he was
Yeah.
Brad Pitt's brother in that movie, a little bit more popular movie, but I think he
He
was.
was in that thing from Netflix about the house or something.
Yeah, but I think he just, this role just kind of put him in
Yeah.
cement, but he was just, uh, the movie wouldn't be anything without him. I can't imagine somebody else playing him. He played it so raw, and his
Yeah.
emotions
All three
as
of
a
them
little
did.
kid to have that kind of emotion. And Drew Barrymore, she was so little she thought ET was real. And so they had
Yeah,
to,
Spielberg had to calm her down after each take.
yeah, and she would be talking to him between takes. I mean, she really thought he
It
was
was
real,
real.
but that's
He's Spielberg's her godfather,
yeah,
Get out of here,
yeah,
really?
yeah. She said he was the
father
father that
figure.
she
She
never
never had.
had. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Huh,
to this
wow.
day, I mean, they call, talk, and which is nice.
Yeah, she
But
had them all on a couple of years ago on her show.
Hmm.
They all
mm-hmm.
look great. I mean, even the guy who played the older brother. What was his?
Michael
Michael,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh man,
Robert McNaught.
Robert McNaughton. Yeah.
yeah.
I
Um,
mean, all three of them are just perfect for that movie.
and I love the I love the Halloween scene
Oh,
when they ET's got the ghost and you're looking at
his
everybody.
whole
You're
the
looking
eyes
at
of his whole the
yeah,
whole
you're
eyes were
the
like so
camera
wide
is
apart.
the holes, and you see all the Halloween costumes from that era,
So cool.
Yoda, they
They throw Yoda
threw
in.
Yoda in there and stuff, but
Now, isn't there a funny story about that scene?
Well, he told George Lucas that he had a surprise for his movie
uh,
when they went and
So
saw the
he
movie.
didn't ask him before.
oh, that's
Because
funny.
if no, he didn't tell Lucas he was going. He didn't get permission or anything. He just put it in there.
My God,
Yeah.
what kind of a cool friend
Yeah.
is that? I
Gave a
He
little
mean,
said
Easter
Lucas
egg.
nudged him as soon as he saw Yoda. And if you look, E.T. looks at Yoda and he
Hmm.
goes home.
yeah.
Like
Hmm. Which was funny,
yeah, yeah.
And they also, I liked how Steven Spielberg paid homage to one of our family's favorite movies was The Quiet Man with John Wayne.
Hmm.
That
Scott
scene,
told me about this today.
yeah, with the drunken scene with Elliot in the school, and they panned. He was mimicking because E.T. was watching The Quiet
The
Man,
Quiet Man, yeah.
and of course my dad and Scott, we all got loved that part in the movie. I
Because it
remember.
plays the music from that
Well, it
movie,
plays the scene. It plays the
Yeah,
scene from The
when
Quiet Man.
John Wayne walks in to the cottage for the first time and she's cleaning it and she tries to run out and he grabs her hand and pulls her back in and gives her that big kiss and E.T. was watching that so Elliot, because he was connected with E.T., had let all those frogs out of the class
Mm-hmm.
and that little girl that he liked went running out and he grabs her and pulls her back in and kisses her because that's what E.T.'s
Yeah.
watching on TV at the time.
Now,
so
isn't
cute.
Harrison
Oh,
Ford
wait a minute. That little girl is Erica
Leniac,
Slaza?
right?
Eleniak. She
Yeah,
was in Baywatch and also Under Siege
yeah.
as the girl
Yeah.
she grew up. Very pretty
Wasn't Harrison Ford the teacher?
principal.
Or was he the
He was the
principal?
Yeah.
The
principal.
principal. But you could just hear his voice.
Yeah,
You
it
couldn't
didn't show
you
him.
couldn't see him. So
And the part got cut out. His part got cut
Yeah,
out.
you
oh
can go on YouTube and see the whole scene with him being the principal and talking to Elliot, and Elliot is still connected with ET, and so something ET sees or whatever makes his
What?
chair raise.
Yeah, he's like
oh
making things move in the house,
Oh
like
yeah, cleaning up and moving
moving
stuff
stuff up.
interesting.
upstairs.
Mhm.
Well, I know when they re-released it years ago, when my kids were little, they added deleted
Oh, they
scenes in
did.
Right,
there.
right.
They had scenes of ET in the bathtub blowing bubbles and in the bath, and because I remember watching it, going, "Wait a minute, what is this? I
This
don't
is good.
remember this."
Did the new scenes they added in work? Did you like it?
No, I don't think they did. I think they did a good job.
Usually, there's a reason they cut stuff
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Usually,
You think it was all pacing?
It was pretty. It was kind of cheesy. I thought.
it's just like the Star Wars when they added Jabba and stuff
Right.
back in the first one. It just
It
it
didn't.
didn't work.
Yeah.
I guess because we're used to the way it was released.
Probably.
You
Probably.
know, sometimes they. I mean, I'm all for enhancing the films, making them look cleaner and stuff, but I don't like when they go in and they remove or add content, different
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
I think that stuff should be on like the bonus features and stuff.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You know,
I agree.
not
I
added
agree.
back into the movie.
I just
That's
remember.
just my
I
opinion,
just remember my dad when we were watching the remaster one in the theaters. I mean, he acted like he'd never seen the movie before. What's he doing? Who's that? I'm like, Dad,
though.
it's E.T. You know this.
We went and saw it how many times?
I don't know how many times we saw it.
Yeah.
Surely.
Um,
Then you got Peter Coyote played the government guy who you're scared of at
Such a
first with
great
with the
actor.
keys,
Right.
and then you
Such a
realize
great actor.
he's just kind of like Elliot.
Yeah,
You know,
he's a grown up
he's a
version of it.
grown up version
And
of Elliot.
didn't he tell Elliot that he'd seen him before?
Well,
Or
he's been waiting for something like this his whole life. He said, or
Oh,
something.
Mm,
I don't think he particularly saw E.T., but
yeah.
we
you know,
wanted to see something like
he's
that
been
before.
hunting UFOs
Mm-hmm.
and extraterrestrials for a long time, and even though he's working for the government, he didn't want to hurt him,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Just want to
And
interact with them.
he, I mean, the whole scene, I think one of the best scenes in the movie is the chase with the kids and
Oh my gosh, yeah.
you know, just that whole thing was and then ET has them go up and you know up
And then
elevates them and that music
that
goes
strike, the ba-da,
and you're like
ba-da-da-da-da.
"Ah."
You know, I had a little replica of ET, and I put him in my bike, and I was running, and I tried to go off this hill. Son of a bitch, let me drop clear to the ground. So I got out and kicked ET right in the ass.
You go, F you, E.T.
Next time we'll do a podcast on Scott and our childhood. We could probably fill up a lot of
Oh
content.
man, I can't wait for that.
Meanwhile, me as a sister just sitting there rolling my eyes and shaking my head.
In the one scene where the mother comes in, she's looking for something, and it shows all these stuffed animals in the closet.
Yes.
And ET's sitting in there, and you
In
just
the middle,
His
just like,
head.
he's like hiding. You know, just
His head's right there.
yeah, you know, it was a funny scene.
it was.
Made you
She
laugh.
was pretty she was pretty not very observant about what was going on in her house.
Well,
Very
that looked like it
much.
just looked like another one of their stuffed animals. I mean, he blended in.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't be able to tell
Yeah.
once he started. His fingers started going.
I like the scene where he's putting together his contraption uh to call home and
Hmm.
he's got the speak and spell and some of those old toys from our childhood, you know. And he's working on it, and then all of a sudden his eyes look out and he's looking at the TV. You know.
I mean,
He had such personality.
you know, one of the reasons why he did that scene with John Wayne, he had gotten in the refrigerator and drank some beer, remember? And so
Mm-hmm.
he got drunk and he was
Mm-hmm.
watching that,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
So
And
awesome.
so it was I love that because they play the music from The Quiet Man too. You
Yeah.
know, that's what I
Yeah.
loved
I
about
thought
it.
that was really
Yeah.
neat.
All right, let me ask you this question because it's kind of controversial. When with the remastered new scenes put in when you guys went and saw it at the end of the movie, before they make that big climb up the into the sky,
Mm-hmm.
they show the government guys with shotguns and guns, and Spielberg erased all those and put all of them holding
Walkie talkies.
walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
And since then, people just wrote. They put messages on Amazon and wrote to the studio saying, "Please take that out." Uh, and so I believe the last 4K version that they for the 40th anniversary he put it back and said that he won't do that again
Well,
because
it doesn't really make sense that the government, those agents, wouldn't have guns
you were
out.
going to tell me about this. So what? All right,
Well, I said it doesn't really make sense that they wouldn't have guns out. You know, I understand what Spielberg was trying to do. He didn't want guns around children in the movie and stuff. I understand.
Because he knew there'd be probably children in the most of the
Right, and
audience.
he just didn't want that
Mm-hmm.
really want that in
The
this movie.
fear. Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, when you think about it, I mean, if you had an alien here in the government, they don't know what ET is. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they would be coming with guns
yeah,
because
he can have like
they don't know if he's gonna be
like
hostile
he
or
can have
not.
like shoot lasers out of his
Yeah.
eyes or
Right,
nostrils or
right.
something
So
like
I mean,
that.
that's how the government probably would react.
Yeah.
You know,
Probably.
so
Oh,
I mean,
definitely. That's how
I
they would react.
understand what Spielberg was doing. You
I
know,
understand it, but like Scott said, just leave it alone. Leave it the way that it
And he said
was.
he would.
yeah.
He said
And
he's.
I mean, talking about the government, the scene where they come into their home. I mean, that was a scary scene as a kid,
Oh, yeah.
as a kid. I mean, she's
Because that's got
holding.
it. Oh, it's like cocooned. They got it like a
Yeah,
cocoon around
because the
the house.
mother comes in the bathroom and sees E.T. He's sick. He's getting sick. Elliot's getting sick, and Elliot says, "We're sick. I think we're dying." And then she's get away from him, trying to take the kids out, and all of a sudden there's this like
This guy in a suit.
like a
Yeah.
yeah, kind of like
Like a hazmat suit.
yeah, kind of like the same thing they had in Back to
That's
the
scary.
Future when
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Now, see if you would think this would have been a better uh, way to go in the movie if you were the director or if you were brought in. They originally had the ending of E.T. and Elliot going to a hospital
hmm
to get treated there, but they couldn't find was that well, they couldn't find the right not only find the right look of a hospital, but one that would be willing to let them shoot at night. So that's how they got to why they cocooned the home.
mm.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
I think that was a good choice to do it at the
I do
house
too.
I do
because
too,
it
because
was
It was creepy looking.
it's like they quarantine the. If they moved to a hospital, then the hospital would have to be quarantined or something. But they
Yeah,
quarantined everybody. They didn't want the public to know,
yeah, and
really.
they quarantined the place where E.T. was
yeah,
living,
Right. Right.
and then the little flower pot with the
yeah.
flowers when he was dying, the petals were dying, and you knew it was bad. But that scene was horrific when
Oh
he
my god.
finally when he dies. Not
I cried my
I,
ears and I cried and I was so embarrassed that people in the theater were going to see me. So I remember wiping my eyes and I look back to see if anybody was looking at me. The whole theater was crying.
yeah.
I was
And
laughing like Robert De Niro and Cape Fear when he's smoking that cigarette.
my
I
ass,
I was
Mr.
like,
I think I remember.
Mr.
I'm
ET
I'm
shirt.
I think I remember when we watched that in that part. I think I remember Dad going, "What the hell?"
He's like, why is it so
We're
sad?
like, "What's going on?"
I still cry when I see it.
Oh yeah, it's
When he
it's it's.
says that speech
I'll
to
be
him.
right here. Oh, and puts. Oh my God,
He's like, I'll think about you
the
every
little
day.
heart light or whatever goes out, or well, yeah, wasn't that it?
Yeah. And
Oh, it
when
was
he was
terrible.
trying to hide the fact that ET was alive. That was one, oh my God, that brought everybody out of their crying funk
That was
and
funny because he was in that little
you
casket chamber thing.
that's how you knew he was still alive because you see a glow.
The glow came, and
and
then
then
he's trying to hide it. And he was
did the
going,
flower parts start the flowers get better or
yeah, the
something?
flowers, and then
Okay.
and then he's like, "Et, go on, Et, go on,"
Yeah.
and he's like, "Shh, be
Oh, when he
quiet."
he unzips the body bag
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he said something like "oh" or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Big old
Yeah.
eyes,
And
Oh,
that
so
scene
cool.
when
Oh,
the brother Michael
yeah.
realizes he's alive, I think there's a mistake in that because he jumps up for joy and I think he hits
Hits
his
his head.
head
Yeah.
pretty hard
Yeah.
too. So I
Yeah.
don't think that was
I don't think that was scripted.
scripted.
Yeah. That is funny.
But
And another interesting, that C. Thomas Howell's in this too. Is he's
Yeah, it's one
yeah,
of the
one of his
friends.
friends,
one
Yeah.
of the
yeah,
friends on the bikes.
Yeah.
he became a pretty big actor
Oh my
himself.
God.
You
Yeah, oh
Yeah.
know,
yeah,
Oh
big
yeah.
big time. Well, all those kids on that bike, it was just cool because they were when they were gonna go hide ET. They were
mm.
like on a mission. Is it kind of a typical Steven Spielberg type? With the
But
kids on the
the
bike.
thing is with that is back then in the 80s and growing up as a child in the 80s, that's what you did. That's what Scott and I had. We had a
BMX.
block of
Yeah.
kids and we all hung around together.
Oh
We
yeah.
all did everything together. We were all there if something was going on or
Well, we were riding bikes too.
riding bikes, right? And we would go explore everything. And so when looking back at that, it reminds me of that,
Well, that's why we loved it.
and that's why I think kids nowadays don't have that, unfortunately. And we
I
did.
looked for him for months.
It's,
I looked for ET. I'm still looking for ET.
again,
Still hasn't come back.
this is a different podcast on therapy with Scott, but yeah, yes, yes.
That little bastard has not shown or even called. Give me a phone call, a sign, nothing.
Do you think the government guy and Dee Wallace got together.
Oh God, yeah. She was horny.
I never.
Oh my God.
Oh, I never really thought about that.
I kind of just felt that at the end when he's there,
Mhm.
she's
I
there.
mean, she does say in the movie, "I get that damn ragu on my skirt." You know.
What the hell?
See, now we made it a PG
It
13.
was ragu on her blouse that
Son
the
of a- that's
laundry
right.
that the cleaners didn't get out.
And shut up, penis breath.
Yeah,
Remember
yeah,
when they said that?
yeah.
Mom about had a
Mom
face.
was
Mom went. "Hey."
and I was so young. I was so little when it came out. I didn't really understand what he
I
was
was
talking
like,
about.
what the hell?
I mean, I was
Yeah.
only
Scott's like, I could use this in my
I was only
vulgar repertoire.
I was only we are 9, I think, when the movie came out. So I
Yeah.
didn't really
We were in like
understand that
second
part.
grade or something like
Yeah,
that.
I didn't really understand or catch that part.
I was 11.
Yeah, but
No, I was 12. It came out in 82.
mom was not happy
No,
about that.
no.
But it's just one of those great.
Yeah, my mom was not kind of happy with that part where one of the friends is trying to touch the mom's butt.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, when
yeah,
she's
yeah,
dancing around.
Yeah, when she's dancing.
yeah.
I did that in the workshop. No.
It's just this movie is just one of those great.
It really
The
is.
1980s, we had the best. It was an original movie. It was an original idea. It wasn't a copycat per se. It was something new and different. And
Well, they said at that time that the studio really didn't want to make the film at first because kids' movies weren't doing well.
Right.
And, I
mhm,
mean, think about it, in the 80s, you had a lot of action movies.
yeah,
Stallone,
And I think,
Schwarzenegger.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that,
But this was the early 80s. Those kind of came.
Well, no,
Kinda.
Raiders was out before.
Well, that's true.
So I mean, you had these type of action movies were coming.
But it's one of those 1980s original staples, like Raiders, like Star Wars, like all these.
let me ask you this: if you had to sell this movie to kids of today who are like, I don't like watching older movies, whether it be the time period or the bad effects or the bad acting, what would you say to them today to like get them to watch E.T.?
That's a good question.
Well, I think it's a little different for kids today. Kids today grow up with a lot more. Um, they grow up too much with a lot more realism and stuff, like video game
Effects.
more violence and stuff.
Yeah,
Today, when they're younger. Uh,
it's
And it makes them kind of because these movies have story.
yeah. I think
yeah,
that's
there's not a lot of. I mean, there are some special effects,
And-
but not like like the Minecraft and stuff like that.
Mhm,
And so I don't know. I still think this
well,
people still
like,
love this.
Just give it a chance. Watch one
I
of the
mean,
greatest movies.
yeah,
it really is, and
It's Spielberg.
I think you
has-
have to show it to kids before they hit teenage years
Oh,
for them
definitely.
to
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah.
I think after that,
do you think Hunter would like it?
who
Who?
Hunter?
I'm just trying to use a different name.
Oh, my
Yeah.
well, my grandson he'll be 6 next month.
You think
And
it would
he
be
is
too scary?
absolutely terrified of ET because Uncle Scott showed him the
Oh.
trailer of
I
ET
had no idea.
and it
the story.
scared
I didn't
him.
know he was
You
going to get scared. Nobody
fucking
gets
piece
scared
of
of
shit.
It
Sorry
scared
for my
him.
language.
It scared him so bad because he's only 5 right now, and he
What part did you show him, you sadist?
it was just the trailer. But ET, if you really don't know, if you're little, you don't know
I
that
guess
he thought he was scary. That's what I was talking about
I didn't
at
think
the first of this
I didn't
podcast.
think he was going to be freaking. No kid was scared of ET.
Bullshit. I know a lot of kids that were really
not him.
young.
So Scott and I have this argument all the time because Scott's like, no kid would be scared of ET. Okay, ET came out when you were what, 11, 12?
Mhm.
My grandson is 5. He's 5-year-old.
Nobody's scared of E.T.
So now
This kid went to see Minecraft and
I
plays video
know,
games, and he's scared of a little freaking alien.
I know he
I told him it.
he's still scared of him. He's like, no, I don't want to watch ET.
Oh my god, you're an asshole.
So we'll have to wait.
I'm gonna buy him an ET doll.
Oh,
shipped
you
out.
know,
Oh, Jesus
you're
Christ.
gonna have to probably wait a year or so, and maybe we'll retry ET with him.
All right, for kids that are a little older, definitely see this movie. It has got heart. You will cry. You will cheer.
The best soundtrack,
The music
music.
is the best sound, probably one of the best sound
Hey, quit being dramatic. Okay?
soundtracks.
You're being a little.
You always know that music. It'll never get
You're
out of
being
your
a little
head.
bit
Oh my
dramatic
God.
with this. Okay, I'm just letting you know.
You better
Yeah.
put that fucking
It's
shirt
it's
up.
one of the
Tip
best.
you and that shirt up for the
It's one
thumbnail.
of the funniest scenes ever when E.T. croaks. I laughed and laughed.
Oh, when
and
he's
laughed.
laying in
He
that
did.
creek and he's all
Listen,
white. Oh,
You're like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
and
I
Michael's
guess
like,
they didn't teach CPR back then. I mean, because that's the first thing I'd have been
he's a
doing.
teenager, Scott.
Yeah, and it's an
Michael's a
alien.
teenager. He doesn't know how to do
Yeah, he
CPR.
probably didn't want to touch his
Yeah.
tongue. He probably get like
Yeah.
warts all over.
Probably, yeah. He looked like all slimy and
Yeah,
stuff.
man, ET might be a dude on the prowl
And
having
then
STDs.
remember when this came out, Neil Diamond made it.
I was getting ready. I was getting ready to talk about that too. That was the big. That was the biggest song. Do you remember that
That
song?
was associated with ET?
Yeah,
Yeah,
turn
that's
on
what
your
it's
heart
about.
light. It was about
It's
ET.
about E.T. You didn't know that?
And it talks about being a young boy's dream. Go back and look at the lyrics.
You didn't know that today when
No.
I was singing it. I didn't.
I
Just
thought
pull
you
that.
were dumb.
No,
No, it was because of E.T. that he made the song was about E.T.
yeah, because ET was so big.
I remember, and it was like a box set with, it was E.T. and Michael Jackson. And it had
Well,
a
you couldn't
cassette.
tell which was which, and that.
I mean, because he did sing a song, a ET song. I don't even think it was
I
used
remember
in the
Michael
movie.
Jackson ever singing an E.T. song. It wasn't Thriller, Dave.
No, I'm telling you,
'cause
you
always
could
get sca-
Google it.
you get scared every time Michael Jackson and
Google,
Thriller.
Google E.T. and Michael Jackson. You'll see.
We'll have to look that
It
up.
was, you heard the music, they condensed it down, and you heard the lines and stuff from the music. It'd be like, Elliot, and then you hear, that was all E.T. talking about Elliot.
Well, he's got E.T. the Storybook full out.
That's it. That's what I
Oh,
have. Yeah.
Never E.T. the storybook.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Michael Jackson
Oh, it was great.
narrating the story? Elliot.
How
Can you?
would you be touching dirty like that?
I mean, that's a little disturbing right there. That they would
You
even
look
let
at
him.
ET. He's got a white glove on one hand.
And then mom
And then
comes into
the
scene.
red jacket.
Oh, that's the mommy. We don't like her. Ew.
This just made me. I mean, I'm just devastated.
I'm gonna-
Look at this picture of him.
Yeah. He's got like the Freddy Krueger
Yeah, he's
sweater.
got this Freddy Krueger sweater on. I mean,
You guys didn't get
and look,
that?
E.T.'s got his hands on his shoulder.
Oh,
but
yeah.
From behind on the back. I mean, this is some sick shit. Why would Steven
Stop it. I like that record.
Why would Steven Spielberg even film? Look at that. His hands are on his shoulder. And he's like, this is horrible.
He grabbed my breast.
This is the worst shit I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my
His
god.
his mouth starts melting and shit.
She starts turning white. Starts getting all,
Oh my god.
I mean, this is just horrible.
Oh.
I just had him bend over and show me his butthole.
And I'll be your
Okay. Let's reel the second.
So sweet.
This is a PG.
Did you see E.T. doing that Thriller dance?
The Thriller
got
dance.
that.
He'd be like, EBT.
That's why E.T.'s waddling.
Yeah. Just an alien claims that I was.
Why's E.T. waddling? He was over at MJ's house last.
See, give me some of that rainbow sprinkles.
Reese's Pieces.
The Reese's Pieces.
Michael Jackson got Reese's Pieces strung all the way to Neverland.
That would have been a great early scene. He
Yeah.
does that, and then he sees Keys, and he starts running to Keys.
You know, he wanted to be in Hook. Michael Jackson wanted to play Peter Pan. Steven Spielberg
Dude,
said,
that would have been awesome.
Steven Spielberg said, fuck.
No, man.
He
He died by then, right?
No.
Oh my God,
No,
my head hurts.
Steven Spielberg said, not after you just did this shit with my ET.
Dude, I would have seen that movie once every fucking weekend. See Michael Jackson in Hook.
Oh,
God.
God.
I'm so sorry, audience.
Boy, this went off the rail.
This went right off the
Office,
rail.
I mean, this is disturbing.
royalty
Like,
there.
you know, I've got to put this picture of ET up on when
You
I
should.
edit this with his hands on Michael Jackson's shoulder.
Yeah, we're gonna
No. We're putting your
we're
shirt.
gonna put that and Scott in his ET shirt on there.
Oh man,
I have an idea.
this is the worst.
Let's
yet.
edit. Let's Photoshop Scott's ET shirt picture with ET. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
If anybody out there has Photoshop capabilities,
Oh, God.
it's really like a free coupon.
Gosh.
Anything else to say about ET that isn't?
I don't know. I'm absolutely
It's-
traumatized by this now.
There's not a kid in the world that listens to this is going to be able to watch
No.
ET now.
No. No. Back to the movie. It's a great movie. It's a must.
It really is.
Staple.
The lady who wrote this, Melissa Matheson, she was the screenwriter, wrote E.T. She was married to Harrison Ford. I think it was Harrison Ford. I don't think it's his first
That's
wife.
why he was the principal.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Well, not just because of that. I mean, he just made Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Nepotism.
Yeah, that's true.
He just made Raiders of the Lost
Well, he's
Ark.
good friends with.
It's not because
Lucas
his
and
wife
Spielberg.
wrote E.T. He's friends with freaking Steven Spielberg and George Lucas. I mean, she didn't have shit to do with it. Matter of fact, Spielberg went to Harrison Ford because she didn't want to do it at first, and had him talk to her and try to talk her into it. And finally, she went ahead and did it.
Wow. I wonder if she wrote anything else after that.
Oh, I'm sure she did. You know,
But
Great movie.
it's
she died though. She died in
She's died.
2015.
Rest in peace.
It's
And she
a.
kind of looks like ET right there.
Oh,
Would you
stop.
stop it?
I mean, that's-
Harrison Ford could be listening.
No
to this.
wonder. If
Stop.
Would you stop it?
You know, just like Princess Leia when Harrison Ford was in that last Star Wars, she's trying to kiss him. He's all moving his hand back and forth. You know.
I'm sorry.
It's one of my favorite movies
classic-
of all time.
Classic 80s.
It's the first
movie.
time I remember crying at a movie. Not because of horror of Jaws, but yeah.
Wow.
Scott is looking at photos right now of the writer, and yeah. Oh my goodness.
All right, can we get back to the podcast?
No,
I mean that's all I have about the movie. It's a classic. You've got to watch it.
Yeah, if you go and if you're a collector of physical media, get the 40th
Stations were wanting to make a sequel to this.
That's true.
And
it's got like AT&Me, right?
I don't. Maybe it's
Or
Michael,
E.T. and
Michael
Son.
Jackson and E.T. as a road trip.
No, in fact,
I think it was E.T. and Son or something.
No. They were wanting an idea. Spielberg actually thought about it, but he said it was just too perfect the way it ended. You know,
yeah,
it is.
When
It's a perfect movie.
But you know what?
In my mind, it's a perfect.
I was thinking about this though. You know, it would be kind of neat if they were to do it now.
And Elliot's grown up with
Elliot's
kids.
grown up with kids
Drew.
and stuff. And Drew Barrymore, they're all still alive.
Mm-hmm.
And E.T.'s, the little son, Mr. Supposed to have been coming back for years. I've been waiting.
Yeah.
And he still hasn't showed up. But I don't think Spielberg will probably do it.
Well, I know when Drew Barrymore was on the Johnny Carson show, the talk show, to promote the movie, she whispered to him that I got to tell you a secret. There's going to be a sequel.
Oh,
So
she did?
She did. And so at that time, I think that they had kind of
been talking about
because
it.
back then in the 80s, when you had such a cult classic as this,
Mm.
there always seemed to be a sequel. The Raiders, the Back to the Future, so we always kind of anticipated there would be an ET2 or whatever, but it just, like Scott said, Spielberg thought it was just
You know what would be
perfect.
great? If E.T. came back and it was Forrest Gump and E.T. My mama always said E.T. was like a ball. Can you imagine Forrest
Oh,
Gump and E.T. walking to
oh, yeah, that's a stretch,
the...
Scott.
I
That's
mean,
a
just
stretch.
Forrest Gump meets E.T. and be running across the country and shit through the woods.
I think Scott needs a break or a drink or something.
For the physical media lovers, get the 40th anniversary 4K. Doesn't have the walkie talkies in their hand, and the picture's just amazing. It looks like it was shot yesterday.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, I think that's going to do it for E.T. Like I said, if you like this video, please like and subscribe.
Share
You
it.
can use the subscriber,
Yeah.
share it, tell all your friends about it.
Yeah.
If you get a chance, please go out, watch E.T. If you have children, watch them with your kids.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm going to watch it with Stacy's grandson and trying to get him to watch E.T.
Oh
You
boy.
gotta
Yeah.
fast forward that part with
Good luck.
There's no
in the
fast forward.
cornfield. That's
No.
gonna scare him.
That is a
Hey,
scary.
there's no fast forward to E.T.
I think
Yeah.
we're gonna have to wait about a year and then we'll try it.
You know, it didn't traumatize me when I was a kid.
Well, that's
Oh, you were a
debatable.
lot older.
Yeah.
That's
It's
debatable.
not like I'm going to have him watch Jaws. Wait till I get
Here,
him to watch Jaws.
start him off with Cloak and Dagger, and then we'll sink him into ET.
Yeah. But if you have any questions, comments, send us an email.
Suggestions.
That's what I said, didn't I?
No questions and comments.
Okay. Either way, they know what I'm talking about.
And we are going to post in the I'm going to post in the comments.
Why don't you be quiet for a minute
Got
so I can get
ET shirt.
I'm trying to get the email out.
Oh, okay.
It's spitballcinema@gmail.com. So drop us a line there. So
Yeah.
I think that's going to do it for today.
Yeah.
I'm Scott.
Stacy.
I'm David.
Thank you, everybody. Watch ET.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.